We have several to get through, so if everyone would please take a seat, and we'll start going down the list here. First nomination, and I guess what we'll do is get you to come up to the podium up here whenever we call your name, and if when you get up there, just make sure the microphone is lit green so we can hear you and anybody that's streaming online can hear you. First Senate nomination number 1, Mr. David Russell from Florida, Mississippi, the Public Procurement Review Board, term effective immediately ending June 30th, 2024. So, Mr. Russell, if you would please come up here, and Joel, make sure that light's on the mic. On his, you could that podium right there would be fine. All right.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Russell, for being here today. If you would please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm in the oil and gas business. I work for a group called McGowan Working Partners. Some of y'all are probably familiar with John McGowan, and been working for him for 40 years. Lieutenant Governor Holzman and I have known each other a long time, and he asked if I would serve on a board, and I don't know where to thank him yet after the first meeting. I'm not sure whether to thank him or pop him upside the head, but it's an honor to be associated with the folks down here and to see how this state works and the people that make it work. It's encouraging to know I'm a Mississippian and proud to be a Mississippian.
Well, thank you, Mr. Russell. I've known you for several years, and several may have known Mr. Russell from working out in the mornings and seeing him around Jackson. But the peer report came back, and there was no derogatory information in your background, and your appointment complies with state law. And we just ask that, of the people that are going through this process, we ask everybody, is there anything that would come out that would embarrass you or Lieutenant Governor for your appointment?
God, I hope not.
Not listed. Okay.
I don't.
That's the usual. That's the usual response we get. So.
Is there a statute? Is there a statute I can get limitations I can fall back on? No.
Well, thank you. Are there any?
I don't think there is. Not that I can recall.
Have you already participated in any of the or been to a procurement review board meeting?
Yes, sir. I've been through about 3 or 4 of them. It's really interesting stuff. I've enjoyed it very much.
Great. Are there any questions of the committee of the nomination? Seeing no questions, is there anyone that would like to speak on or against his behalf, Senator, Lieutenant Governor Holzman?
I'm speaking in his behalf in self-defense.
Thank you.
He's a great guy, do a great job. He's run his company for a number of years. Those of you who don't know David came and back to Mississippi, ran Ramadi Inn for years, went back to college, got a geology degree, worked for McGowan Working Partners, which is one of the largest of the private oil and gas companies in Mississippi. A tremendous, long time. Been working on things since 50 years or so. And David runs most of their production, their expense side, does all of their negotiations for their healthcare policies, those kinds of things. All the things that we do as a state, David does in private enterprise, and he does an outstanding job, very successful. He has my complete recommendation to the committee.
Thank you, Governor Holzman. Are there any other questions from the committee? Thank you for your willingness to serve on the committee. I know this is an important one on this Public Procurement Review Board. Is there a motion? Senator Carter. Motion is we do advise and consent. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Russell.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Next up is Senate nomination number 10, Mr. Michael Berner, Mississippi Business Finance Corporation, a term effective December 17th, 2020, ending March 31st, 2026. Mr. Berner, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
You're a busy man. If you do, please introduce yourself and kind of give everybody on the committee some information about you.
My name is Michael Berner. I am a partner at Ware Berner Allen Architecture in Jackson. And we have a building located in Fondren. I have 3 children. My wife and I and family live in Jackson. originally from Brookhaven, Mississippi. I went to Millsaps undergrad, and then went for a second degree at Mississippi State for architecture. And I'm honored to be appointed to this position.
Well, thank you for your willingness to serve, and I know you've been very active in your business, and y'all have done a wonderful job. I know you, for those that don't know, Mr. Berner's firm did the design on the Duty Noble Field and many other projects around town, and they do great work and very active, and I appreciate your willingness to get involved and serve. The peer report came back. Your application, your appointment does comply with state law, and there was no derogatory information in your background check. Are there any other questions from the committee? All right, same question. If is there anything that's not listed that would come out that would embarrass you or the governor for the pig?
I do not believe so.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? Seeing none, Senator Blunt for a motion.
I move we do advise and consent.
All right, motion is we do advise and consent. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The next nomination is Senate nomination number 15, Mr. Mark Byes from Vicksburg, Mississippi, Mississippi Business Finance Corporation, term effective immediately ending March 31st, 2026. Thank you for being here today. If you would please introduce and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, actually, I've engaged Senator Hobson to speak on my behalf, so it's
I'm sorry.
I'm Mark Byes, Vicksburg, born and reared there. I am president of the Vicksburg market for Bancorp South. Born and reared, like I said, in Vicksburg. This will be out to start my 41st year in banking. I'm a graduate of the University of Mississippi, and I got my MBA degree from L School of Management at Millsaps. I'm happily married with 4 children, and that's me.
All right. Well, thank you for being willing to serve on the Mississippi Business Finance Corporation. Peer, your report came back. There was no derogatory information related to your background check, and it meets the applicable state law. So if there are any questions, I believe Mr. Hobson wanted to speak on your behalf. Senator Hobson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not sure what board or committee advised me nominated for, but it really doesn't matter because whatever he can do, he can do a great job of it. So I've known Mark for 10 years, and his children and my children before these boards together, and we've actually coached together. I want to strengthen them a few times before we coach together.
Thank you, Senator Hobson. And the standard question, is there anything listed that's not in here that would embarrass Lieutenant Governor or the Senate if it came to light? Thank you. Seeing no further questions, is there a motion? Senator Carter. All right, motion is we do advise and consent on Mark Byes for the Mississippi Business Finance Corporation. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Byes, for being here today.
Thank you very much.
Our next is going to be by Zoom. Senate nomination number 22, Derek Harrington from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, State Bond Attorney, term effective immediately and concurrent with the governor's term of office. Mr. Harrington, if you would please introduce yourself and give us a little background on you, please.
Good morning. Thank you so much to the committee for allowing me to appear by Zoom as opposed to in person. The good news is that my son and everyone in the household have tested negative. So we're now back at work and at school this morning. But I'm Derek Harrington. I was born and raised in Hattiesburg, attended Millsaps College, graduated from the University of Mississippi School of Law, practiced law for about 22 years now. I'm counsel for the Hood Companies based in Hattiesburg, and married to Amy, and have one son, Graham.
Thank you. I'm glad everyone in your family is healthy. It says in your peer report that your appointment does meet and is applicable with state law, and there was no derogatory information in your background check. Is there anything that wasn't listed that if it came out would embarrass the governor or the Senate with your nomination?
No, Senator, not that I'm aware.
All right, great. Are there any questions from the committee for the candidate? All right. Senator Filligan would like to speak on your behalf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Derek, for being with us. I've known Derek for quite a while. He has always been a good friend. He's very active in our community. His wife is probably a much better person than he is, but
No question.
But Amy works at Forest General and in other places, and they're just wonderful, salt of the earth people. And you hear that about a lot of people, but with Derek and his family, it's actually true. So I appreciate the fact that he is willing to take this role on, and he and his family are very successful. They've worked really hard for what they've gotten, and we just are very fortunate that he's willing to serve in this capacity. So, and I know he's neighbors of Senator Johnson, so I'll let him say whatever he would like to say as well.
Senator Johnson? Absolutely. Senator Johnson?
Well, I don't want to hurt him in any way, so I'll keep this short. Derek is a good friend and a neighbor, and has been for years, and he's very capable of handling any position that he receives.
Thank you. Derek, I appreciate your willingness to serve on the committee, and I'm going to let Senator Johnson and Filligan fight who gets to make the motion. So,
Motion is to advise and consent.
all right. The motion is to advise and consent. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you for participating.
Thank you. It's my honor to serve.
All right. Our next nomination is Senate nomination number 30, Mr. Will Green Poindexter of Inverness, Mississippi, for the State Tax Appeals Board, and as an associate member, a 6-year term immediately ending June 30th, 2026. Mr. Poindexter, thank you so much for being here today. Take your time, and we're going to let you give us a little bit of background information. If you would come over here to the podium there. Thank you, sir. If you would please introduce yourself and just give us a little background.
All right, sir. I have served on this board for a number of years, and I've enjoyed my service, and I was excited to be considered for to serve further.
Yes, sir.
It's I thank the board for considering me, and look forward to being in this position further. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Poindexter. It says you were a member, you were mayor of the town of Inverness. You were a member of the Mississippi House of Representatives, and you've already been serving on the Board of Tax Appeals since 2014. The peer conclusions do not locate any derogatory information, and your appointment meets applicable state law. So I'll give you the standard question again. Is there any information that has not been revealed that came out would embarrass the governor or the Senate in your nomination? No, sir? There's no information out there that hadn't been discussed.
Well, I'll be glad to discuss anything. Same joking. I don't hear too well.
Okay.
And I apologize.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I'm going to recognize Senator.
I'm in the process of trying to get me a hearing aid.
I'd resist.
I apologize. Thank you.
I'm going to recognize Senator Chasnoff to speak on your behalf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Poindexters and the Chasnoffs are longtime friends. My husband could probably tell you a whole lot more about Mr. Poindexter than I can, but I would like to say that he has great respect amongst people in the Delta, not just in Inverness, and it is my delight to say that I hope that he is confirmed.
Thank you, Senator Chasnoff. If there are any further questions, I'll recognize Senator Chasnoff for a motion.
The motion is we do advise and consent.
All right, motion is we do advise and consent on Senate nomination number 30, Mr. Poindexter. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Poindexter, for being here. All right. And our last nomination is Senate nomination number 49, Mr. Philip Chambly, Madison, Mississippi, Mississippi Lottery Corporation Board of Directors, a 5-year term effective immediately and ending December 31st, 2025. Thank you, Mr. Chambly. If you would please, obviously I think everybody knows you here, but if you don't mind, give us kind of a perspective of first couple of years of the Lottery Board and how it's gone.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, and thank you and the committee members for allowing me to speak this morning. Governor O'Brien appointed me to the inaugural Lottery Board, and we started it up, and I'm very fortunate that Governor Reeves saw fit to reappoint me to a 5-year term. I'm currently the vice chair of the Mississippi Lottery Board, and I've been on the vice chair for 2 years. The lottery, as you know, has done extremely well. The first 7 months of 2020, for the fiscal year, we returned over $70 million, actually $70.7 million to the state for infrastructure. And as you travel around the state of Mississippi, you see that that money is going to work. MDOT is resurfacing roads, and you will see a sign up that says this is being paid for by the Mississippi Lottery to thank your legislator. Currently in fiscal year 21, we've already returned over $75 million to the state. So we're well on track to hit our $80 million target. And of course, anything above the $80 million goes to the Early Childhood Enhancement Fund and some other educational areas. The lottery has done extremely well. It's been well received. We've had, I think, maximum sales, minimum problems. We've got 1,830 active retailers as of this morning, or January the 22nd, I should say. 1,830, yes, sir. The majority of them are convenience stores. Kroger has come online. We're coming online with Walmart, but COVID set us back on that a little bit. So that's coming up pretty soon. They'll be online this year. We have 74 employees at the lottery. Six of them are part-time. But we've had it's really went well. I think Mississippi has done a great job. The legislation that y'all passed set it up in the right manner, and we have exceeded all the expectations that we've had. We've been well pleased, and also the lottery experts as well.
On the numbers you gave earlier, so y'all are operating on our state fiscal year or the calendar year with the money?
State fiscal year.
State fiscal year. So
Yes, sir.
this fiscal year from July 1, how much money has the lottery?
July 1 of 20 to currently, as the end of January, transfer over $75 million.
So 6 months, we've almost reached the $80 million mark.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, are there any questions from the committee for Mr. Chambly? Mr. Chambly, the peer report came back. We're going to talk about this. I'm just kidding.
I was afraid of that.
Your appointment is in compliance, and there was no derogatory information in your background check. I'll give you the standard question. Is there anything that wasn't listed on the peer report that, if it came out, would embarrass the governor or the Senate in your nomination confirmation?
As a Mississippi State graduate, other than the fact I disclosed 12 hours of coursework from Ole Miss, no, there's nothing else out there that would embarrass me or the governor or the great state of Mississippi or the lieutenant governor.
All right, thank you. Seeing no other questions, I'll hear a motion on the nomination of Mr. Chambly for another term for the Lottery Commission. Motion is we do advise and consent. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Chambly.
Thank you. Thank
Motion
you, Mr.
to
Chairman,
rise
committee
and
members.
report. All those in favor say aye. All opposed? Efficient. Oh, I was waiting for the introductions of guests. I mean, you didn't introduce a guest.